I imagine you sitting at your kitchen counter just cringing because you've been watching your child get their supplies for their homework and trying to figure out what they have to do next, where their stuff is, and you're feeling helpless, frustrated, and disappointed. Well, in this video, I have 10 easy, effective strategies that you can plug and play to help your child boost their executive functioning skills so that things at home and at school get so much easier. Something very unique about these 10 strategies I'm sharing with you is that these 10 strategies have been used, proven, and been effective with the kids and families that I work with. All right, routine. We cannot talk about improving executive functioning skills without talking about routines. My tips for routines are start small, make sure that you can help the child do the routine, and then repeat, repeat, repeat. One of my kiddos had a routine of going out the door where they had everything in a locker. So this not only helped their organization skills, it helped their time management, it helped them be able to prioritize and remember where things go and what they needed so they can get out the door quicker. Now I know checklists and visuals are kind of like so cheesy and over talked about when they are used to help kids with routines, behaviors, and executive functioning skills. But this is a strategy that I use and the kids and families love it. We put our checklist on Post-it papers, and when they're done doing whatever they need to do, nothing more satisfying than taking your Post-it and throwing it away. So why this is so effective is because the child is involved in the process. They're gonna have to draw a picture, doodle, write out what they have to do. If they're really resistant about writing, as some kids are, we can write it for them. Hey, what kind of a drawing do you want me to draw? But the key here is keeping them engaged with that checklist, and that visual is what's gonna make that successful for them. This is kind of like a bad word. Use a timer. Just kidding, it's not a bad word. But a lot of families are scared to use timers because sometimes it brings up the child's anxiety, it makes the child stressed, which is not always a bad thing, right? Sometimes we need a little bit of fire so that we can move faster. However, I introduced the timers to the families as more of a, I wonder how long it will take us to do X, Y, and Z. And when I want to even remove it even further away from the child and just get them to start practicing, navigating, predicting time, we can usually pick another family member. Hey, I wonder how long it's gonna take Dad to actually get ready to go on that bike ride that he said he was gonna take us on, right? Hey Dad, how long do you think it's gonna take you? I'll be out in 5 minutes. And then little Mary or little Johnny can be timing. It's like, hey Dad, you're on 22 minutes and I'm still waiting for you by the garage door. So this is a great way to bring time awareness into our kids' lives. And the families really like this one because it brings fun and joy into your family life, as well as teaching a skill. So like it or not, the world our kids are growing up in, they are constantly being evaluated and measured. However, many times they're not able to build that skill of internally looking at the big picture, which is known as metacognition, to see, hey, what happened? What did I do well here? What did I not do well? And the best way that we can do that for our kids is by asking questions and letting them come up with the answers, and eventually having them ask the questions. Some of the questions you can teach your child to ask is like, hey, is this what I was expecting it to turn out like? Hey, did you expect it to be any different than it turned out? What do you think about the way it turned out, or how that went, or how it felt? Because all of a sudden this takes the responsibility from them looking at us or a measurement or a test to create that internal drive, to starting to create it for themselves, because they have to stop, be mindful of what's going on, and think of an answer to that question. So questions are the best way to help them start that self-evaluation process. This one's also a little controversial, huh? Limiting distractions, right? Sometimes a quiet, peaceful place with no noise, no bodies, no people. Sometimes that's not the best environment for our kiddos. Sometimes it's not the best environment for me. So figuring out what kind of environment your child needs, and again, bringing them into it, helping them set it up, and then helping them continue to use that environment. Sometimes it might be some headphones for some music. Sometimes it's no noise at all. Sometimes it's a little white noise in the background will help create that a distraction-free zone. So find a distraction-free zone. Just don't be afraid to think outside the box as to what that might look like. This one is great, and there's tons of research to support it. Bring in a mindfulness practice. Now, I'm not suggesting you take your 12-year-old on a big mindfulness meditation retreat, because they're probably not going to like that. But start bringing in a 1-minute meditation, a 1-minute mindfulness act. I have a video right here that talks about how to bring mindfulness in specifically to build executive functioning skills. Now, this one piggybacks on the one I just mentioned about asking questions. When you work on executive functioning skills, and if you bring in executive functioning coaching to help you support your child, something that you should always include is trying to build problem solving skills, right? Because if you're struggling with organization, we need to support organization, create a system, but we also need to build the skill. And the best way to build the skill is by that accountability and that being aware of what went wrong and what do we need to go right. So becoming a problem solver is imperative to your journey on having your kids' executive functioning skills get better. So we do that by asking questions and waiting. It's so hard. At least 90 seconds. We're gonna wait and let them figure it out. And it can start when they're little toddlers, right? Let them struggle a little bit. Let's let them figure it out before we jump in to help them. That's one of the best ways to build that problem solving skill. When they're a little bit older, we get to ask, oh, I wonder how you're gonna be able to fix that. Or I wonder how we can fix it. But you always want to include them to be part of the possible solution. This one is more of a lifestyle strategy here, right? But make sure the basics are covered. What are the basics in development, right? Let's make sure their hearing and their eyes are working the best way they could be working. Let's make sure they are getting enough sleep. There's tons of research on how sleep helps cognitive development and tons of research on how impaired sleep will interfere with cognitive development, and executive functioning skills are the first ones to fall through the cracks when we are not sleeping, when our kids are not sleeping. And the other basic there is, what are our kids eating? What are they eating? Are they eating? When are they eating, right? So look at the basics before you start doing anything else. When looking at what builds executive functioning skills, and when looking on how to support, let's say you have ADHD, there's usually a combination of things that you want in your toolkit, right? If you have ADHD, you may want to start with medication, but research shows you want medication and you also want to learn the skills, right? So whether your child has ADHD or they just are struggling with some of the things we've mentioned, and they're struggling with executive functioning skills, that accountability piece and teaching the skills comes through coaching. Coaching is not a tutoring session that's going to help you do good on the next test. It's not a tutoring session that's going to help you turn in your homework. It's not a tutoring session that's going to help you organize your room, right? It actually goes into the foundations and helps you and your child build executive functioning skills while you have somebody there to support you, because you may have already tried a bunch of stuff and going at it alone has not been successful and has led to more frustration. So don't be afraid to look for a book on coaching, look for videos just like this on coaching, or look into a program that can help you with your child's executive functioning skills. Every family and every child has a unique set of skills that they're going to be working on. Some of the strategies are going to work, some aren't. The next thing you're going to want to dive deep into is, what does executive functioning coaching look like and how does it even help your kids? That's what the next video is going to be. So I'll see you there and happy watching.